What up, everybody? Good morning and happy Thursday. Throwback Thursday, DK Show up on the air on your radio dials, 105.1 FM and 790 AM. You can also stream us at sportstalk1051.com. Download the Sports Talk app, take it on the go. Get your smart devices, smart speakers. Video streams also up and rolling on Facebook and YouTube this morning. Don't forget to subscribe to that YouTube channel over there. But appreciate you making us a part of your start on this Thursday morning of August 8th to be exact. What do we got on a good old game plan for us here this morning? Brew Crew. That's what we're talking about right now. Snapping a losing streak of 3 series in a row by picking up another win last night against the Atlanta Braves to secure a series win against the Braves. They will try to go for a sweep this afternoon. A little bit of an early game coming at you today. First pitch for that game is going to be at about 11:20 this morning. Yeah, 8-5 victory last night for the Crew. Freddie Peralta picking up his first win since June. Yeah, first win since June. His 7th overall, 7-6 on the season. Freddie Peralta in the game last night, going 5 innings, giving up 4 earned runs, 6 strikeouts there, but he had some offensive help from the Crew, including Jackson Chirio, who remains hot at the plate. He collected 3 hits again last night. He has moved his batting average over 270, currently at 272 for the season, and his OPS is up to a 737. But 16 total hits for the Brewers last night. Hoskins collecting 3, Sanchez hitting in that 3 spot. Kind of a little bit of a different lineup there. You had Chirio in the leadoff, Hoskins at number 2, Sanchez at number 3, and Contreras batting in the 4 spot. And it kind of worked for the most part. Hoskins collected those 3 hits. Sanchez collected a couple. Joey Ortiz had himself a night with 3 hits. Blake Perkins with a couple big hits last night. 3 RBIs for him. He also had 3 hits. So, I mean, you had these dudes stepping up in a big moment, going up against Chris Sale, too. Brewers have had some issues, especially at the beginning part of the season, going up against left-handed pitchers, and Chris Sale is one of the best pitchers in all of Major League Baseball, and the Brewers' offense was able to go after him. He only lasted 4 2/3, giving up 9 hits, a couple earned runs too. Did strike out 10, but they were able to rack up that pitch count against him and get him out of that game. And the Brewers' offense helping lead the way for the Crew last night. So they've taken the first 2 games of this series. And again, we'll try to get the series sweep later this morning, heading into the early parts of the afternoon. Frankie Montas going to be getting the starts for the Brew Crew. So got to be feeling pretty good. That's what we're talking about, right? Finally kind of, playing some solid baseball, getting in a little bit of a groove here. I know it's just one series and it's just a couple games here, but Brewers still remain in first place by 6 games over the St. Louis Cardinals. If you're doing a little bit of a divisional watch here. And then after today's game, the Crew will return home for a long stretch of games in Milwaukee. They got Cincinnati for the first 3, the Dodgers for 4 games, and then the Cleveland Guardians for 3 games after that. So no off days here for the Brew Crew. So we'll talk plenty of baseball, recapping last night's win, looking ahead to Game 3 today. Can the Brewers pick up a series sweep against the Braves? We'll hit that up and chat a little bit about that coming up in just a little bit here. Speaking of a little baseball talk here, the Express and Duluth remain tied for first place in the division, and their division. And we just have 3 more games left to go here for the Eau Claire Express in the regular season. 1 more game on the road against Thunder Bay. That's tonight. Then they'll hit Madison tomorrow night. return home to Carson Park on Saturday, which could be a very, very, very big game. So if you got nothing going on Saturday nights, maybe head on down to Carson Park and make that a home field advantage. But right now, Thunder Bay defeating the Express last night and helping out Duluth there a little bit. The Express and Duluth now tied for first place in that in their division there. So, but only 3 more games left in this regular season. Man, oh man. So we'll hit that up. We'll talk a little green and golds as we are getting set for the first preseason game coming up here on Saturday. Sounds like the starters are going to play. At least some starters are going to play, including Jordan Love. Obviously, it remains to be seen just how long he's going to be in the game, and some of those starters are going to be in the game and such. But he's going to get some work in, and he's going to get some playing time out there. Don't know if that's going to be the case for every single game in the preseason here, but sounds like we're at least going to see him and some of the other starters. Maybe not the guys who are banged up a little bit. Get into the game on Saturday, but and maybe that's Christian Watson, who, if you're kind of following along with practice reports yesterday, potentially avoided a big time injury. It was towards the end, little end zone drill there. Landed awkwardly, was face down for a while in a lot of pain. Players were on their knees and such, but he ended up walking off. Said that his hip landed on somebody's leg, but he was good to go. So, whew, little sigh of relief there, if you will. But we'll talk a little green and gold as we get set for that first preseason game coming up on Saturday. We have a little outdoor tidbits with Jake Boakes. It's going to be a little bit earlier this morning, so it's about 8:05. We'll hear from our DNR warden buddy. All right, so if you got any questions, let us know. Hit me up with a text on the texting line, 715-830-1912. We know those antlerless deer tags going to be going on sale starting on Monday. So if you got any questions, maybe surrounding that, or getting set for hunting season, or still, we're still in fishing season too. So if you have any questions, all right, now is the time to text those on over so we can get those to Jake. Again, he will be here or be joining us a little bit earlier this morning at about 8:05. 8:05. So we'll hit that. We got some receive or defer coming up at about 7:45, maybe a little bit earlier, 7:40, 7:45 there. So we'll get to that. Again, we always take your nominations for a little receive or defer questions. So we'll you can, again, text those on over to us on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. Quick look at the medal count here for the Olympics. The United States absolutely dominating. I mean, dominating in total medal counts. 95. The next closest is China at 66. I mean, you're nearly a 30 over almost 30 more than the next closest competition. It is a little bit closer in the total gold count. United States leading in that 27. China has 25. United States leading in silver 35. China has 24. Bronze, United States leading 33. France is at 21. And today's going to be a day, too, to catch Kenny Bednarik from Rice Lake. We know the 200 meters is his go-to race there, and he's going to be going at it this afternoon to try to get gold, in the Olympics there. So I know a lot of us will be paying attention and following along with that. So best of luck to Kenny over there, and hopefully can get that gold medal to go with his silver that he achieved a few years ago. So our plate is full. Our game plan is loaded up here. So let's get things rolling this morning, shall we? All right, let's get the leadoff going here. We'll talk a little Brewers to open up things. Brew Crew picking up another win, securing a series win against the Atlanta Braves. Got to Chris Sale a little bit last night. Got that pitch count worked up against him, and then the offense, they kept this team in it and helped propel the team to victory. It was kind of a different lineup there last night, shuffling it up. Reminds me of the good old days when you're just like, all right, we got to do something different in the good old lineup book there, and you're just kind of mixing it up, and that's kind of what it looked like a little bit there. But Jackson Cheerio continues to stay hot at the plate. I mean, you look at his numbers in his last 7 games, he's hitting 364. You wanna expand it to his last 66 at bats, his last 15 games. This kid is hitting 394, slugging 576. 576. Joey Ortiz also having himself a good night last night, saying now he's kind of feeling like the same player that won Rookie of the Month back in May, which seems like it's been forever at this point in time. But Blake Perkins, another solid outing from him. 3 hits, couple big hits, RBI situations last night. Hoskins also kind of being a table setter last night, getting the job done in that 2 spot there. So, but let's get things going here. We'll talk some Brewers, recap that win from last night, and look ahead to Game 3 of this series against the Atlanta Braves before the Brew Crew come back home for a long series stretch here. We talked about it a little bit earlier this week, kind of with this Atlanta series and going into, the next couple weeks here, a big stretch of games with Atlanta, playoff team, Cincinnati. I mean, they're last in the division, but they would love nothing more to be spoilers, and they still got some young talent over there. Dodgers for 4 games, Cleveland, then you're on the road for 3 against St. Louis Cardinals, which starting August 20th, that's looking to be a big, 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 big time series right now. No doubt about it. So we are about almost 70% of the way through the regular season right now for the Crew. So we'll take that first break and we'll get things rolling here. We'll start off talking a little baseball before we get into some football chat and such. So let's get the leadoff going. First break. We'll be back in just a few minutes. If you're getting set to hit the road for maybe one more vacation or a little road trip before school starts, make sure you head into ASAP Used Auto Parts, get that oil change with your vehicle, or maybe you need to update those tires. So, because it's been time and maybe they're a little bald and such. And before you take that long road trip, you probably should make sure your tires are ready to go. Well, ASAP Used Auto Parts can help you out there too. So, located right on Menominee Street, right across the street from the Dodge. Take it on in, maybe get some new tires, get that oil change, and go have a quick lunch at our good friends from the Dodge over there too. So they were big time partners for our golf outing over there as well. But 1330 Menominee Street in Eau Claire is where ASAP Used Auto Parts is located. You can also give them a call, 715-514-4501. All right. Oh, and they're really quick to do oil change. Just got mine done over there too. So really quick. So
speaking of Menominee Street, you've been down there and seen the Sonnentag Center progress?
I got a tour. Oh, yeah.
Oh, did you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, how'd you get a tour? You didn't call me.
You were probably on one of your 500 vacations. Yeah, I had a tour of that thing.
I look forward to seeing that.
Oh, yeah.
It really looks nice.
It's snazzy, as the kids say.
Good, yeah. Good. Well, I hope it leads to, easier recruiting, better recruiting, a destination for these kids, because it's a whole lot different than going to Zorn Arena.
Yeah, it is. So there's some sweet stuff in there.
What would you say is? I imagine they got state of the art weight rooms and all kinds of
when I was
rooms and things like that.
The weight room's pretty sweet because it faces the river, so you got all the windows facing the river right there.
Wow!
And when I was there, Zach and the fitness team were putting together the machines in there. But I will say, locker rooms, what you imagine college locker rooms, that's what those are.
These are sweet, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Good deal.
Yes.
Good deal.
Absolutely.
Well, after so many years of Zorn Arena served its purpose in the day, but let's face it, it's not a modern facility, so Sonnentag Center should be a welcome addition.
And they do a very nice job honoring the Zorn Arena too, because when you walk in, first of all, when you walk in, then you go upstairs. You got to go up a flight because then you're like overlooking the courts, and then they got like concessions and all that stuff up there. But they got a wall of some of the old bleachers from the Zorn Arena on there, and then they got a nice Ken Anderson tribute on another wall over there with a lot of pictures and facts and nuggets and all that stuff over there. So they do a very nice job honoring the history of it there too. So I do have my own office over there. What AD Jason
Does it say
said.
men on the door, or what's it say?
I think it's pretty much the conference room. So that's
really?
I'm just saying. So
that's good. That's good.
No, it's a really amazing place. So yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing. When's I don't even know the schedule, because they've got the hotel is going to be on the edge. That adds some class to it as well on the adjacent property there. When's the first event? Grand opening or ribbon cutting, or what, have I missed that already?
No. Well, the first sports event that's going to be, there's actually going to be the women's volleyball team's going to have their for a match there.
Oh, good.
Towards the end of the month, I believe. So I'll have to double check that. But yep.
Women's volleyball at all levels is really coming on.
Really. Well, and national champs from a couple of years ago too. So, and the field house is pretty darn. This is the way I describe it. The indoor football field, it looks bigger on the inside than it does from the outside.
Wow.
Which is kind of weird to say, but
yeah, no, I know what you're saying. Yeah,
you walk in there and it's like, holy crap, this is a lot bigger than I thought it was.
Yep. Good deal. All right, it's about time we get a modern facility here, because all the other state universities, for the most part, have really nice, more modern facilities. So this will be the latest one, and that's a good thing.
Yep, no doubt about it. So, all right. Shall we get things going here? Brew Crew picking up another win last night.
I was nervous because the night before they won 10-0. You know what happens when a team scores 10, 12 runs? What happens the next game? They usually end up with 1 or 2 or nothing. But so I was nervous that, and going against Chris Sale too. I thought, oh boy.
Yeah, that's the other part, right? Chris Sale going up there, lefty. I mean, one of the best pitchers in the game, and
a reincarnation of Randy Johnson. If that guy could
tall and skinny and all,
and
grow some long hair,
arms and legs. But I mean, if he could have stayed more healthy during his career, a great pitcher. pitch for lacrosse in the Northern League.
Yep.
And went in Boston, and now he's with the Braves. If he just could have stayed healthy, that guy could have. I think he pitched for the White Sox too. I'm sure he's happy to be out of there. But if he could have just stayed healthy more during his career, I think he could have put up some real numbers because he's nasty.
And even in just 4 2/3 last night, he had 10 strikeouts, but the Brewers did a good job racking up that pitch count against him. And I mean, you had Blake Perkins with 3 hits. You had Joey Ortiz with 3 hits. Rhys Hoskins hitting in the 2 spot, 3 hits. Gary Sanchez hitting in the 3 spot, collecting a couple hits. And then this kid, Jackson Chourio, in the leadoff, 3 hits again for him. He's up to 272 batting average this season. Can we, I know he's not going to, but can we get some more national love for like Rookie of the Year talk with Jackson Chourio?
I was just going to ask you that. What kind of talk is there, or who's getting all the attention?
Paul Skeens is getting all the attention, which I understand that.
Oh yeah.
But this is from Vegas Insider, the latest odds as of August 7th. Jackson Chourio is 8th best odds in the National League.
He's what?
8th best odds for Rookie of the Year.
8th?
Yeah.
Who in the world's ahead of him?
Jackson Merrill, Imanaga, the pitcher from the Cubs, is above him. Tyler Fitzgerald, Jared Jones, Mason Wynn.
This is another example to me of the Brewers being a small market team. I was this morning, before I do the farm show on our sister station Wax, I always go in and look at the network feed. It's like the old UPR AP wire system, only it's on the computer, and look at all the highlights from the games. And I tried to find Milwaukee, Atlanta, not on there. I mean, there must have been 10 games on there. Milwaukee, Atlanta was not on there. It just talk about getting the short end of the stick as a small market. I mean, Atlanta is not a small market, but for whatever reason, and I think the Jackson Chourio story being 8th best, and I don't take anything away from those other guys. I know they're having good seasons, they're good players, and they deserve to be in the mix. But Jackson Chourio 8th, I just think if he was in New York, Chicago, he'd be right up there. No question in my mind.
I would agree with that.
I would agree with that. It's frustrating. It really is.
Yeah, because I was like, I haven't really, Joey Ortiz won Rookie of the Month in May for the Brewers, but you haven't really heard a whole lot about Jackson Chourio, with any Rookie of the Year. And I get it, Paul Skeens is going to win it. I think that's fair to say. He's going to win it. I'm not going to take anything away from that. Because
he's quite a pitcher. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that kid.
But Jackson Chourio, I mean, come on, should be a little bit higher than 8th.
I agree with you 100%.
These odds.
I agree with you.
I mean, what this kid and the improvement that he has been doing throughout the entire season. And I think you do have to factor in the pressure that was on him to have that big contract, to begin the season without playing a major league game at all and just a handful of AAA games, nothing to write home about. And you're automatically, given a big contract right away. So I think you have to factor that into the whole equation. And what he's doing right now, especially in the absence of Christian Yelich in the offense, is amazing.
And where his team is in the standings. I mean, he's not playing for the White Sox.
Right.
This Imanaga, pitcher for the Cubs, fine. He's a nice pitcher. I saw him pitch a game the other night. I don't know, who against the Twins. I think it was against the Twins. And he's a nice pitcher. But the Cubs are nothing. Cubs are going nowhere.
Right.
I mean, they'd have to mount a pretty big rally to get into the mix here before the end of this season.
Yep.
And Jackson Chourio is a contributor, a major contributor, a team that's leading their division by 5, 6 games?
6 games.
6 games.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, Mason Wynn's got better odds than him. He's with the Cardinals. You get a couple, we mentioned Paul Skeens is on there. Jared Jones is also Pittsburgh. You got a couple Padre players on there, but Jackson's in first place with his team.
Yep, exactly. And I'm sure it'd be nice to get individual honors, but I'm sure Jackson Chourio will have the last laugh, I hope, going through it. And, but I agree with you. Skeens has taken baseball. I mean, he's, Garrett Cole was the last guy that came up through Pittsburgh and went on to New York to make many, many, many dollars. And I think Skeens is on the way. It'll be interesting if Pittsburgh ever tries to, sign. The problem with this kid is now everybody knows he's just a rookie, but everybody knows he's in line for some big money.
Yeah.
So will he sign with Pittsburgh for, would be big money, but
right.
what maybe the Yankees or the Dodgers or somebody else like that would offer him.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that the poo-poo thing about baseball? You just mentioned the two teams that everybody just assumes is going to go out there and throw. It's like that every year.
Yeah, it's like that every year.
Yeah.
Maybe there's an outlier in there once in a while. Maybe Boston will get back in the mix, or a team like Texas might throw some money, or Houston. There are some other outliers out there, but the two are the Yankees and the Dodgers all the time. They're always going to be in the mix.
Yep. Yeah. So, but I know this was a couple days ago, but I don't know if anybody else saw this on social media. So Freddie Freeman with the Dodgers coming back, and his if anybody, I don't know if you've heard the story with Freddie Freeman's young son.
Right?
Is going through some health issues and such. But when Freddie Freeman made his return to the Dodgers, and he had his after the game post game press conference.
That game was on TV. I was watching it.
Yeah,
very emotional.
Yeah. He talked about the Dodgers being very welcoming or helping him out, but he said, I also want to give a shout out to Pat Murphy and the Brewers, because apparently Pat Murphy and some of his staff and the players made a video well wishes to send over to Freddie Freeman.
Oh, that I didn't hear.
And added more to how awesome I think Pat Murphy is. And Pat Murphy was asked about it, and kind of, again, in typical Pat Murphy fashion, just kind of brushed it off the side. He's like, a lot of us are dads. We understand, wasn't making it about him. But I just thought that's another, it just seems like Pat Murphy's almost like the perfect manager at the right time for this team. To hear stories. For baseball.
Now, we talk, okay, and I agree with you, but Jackson Churio way down as far as Rookie of the Year. What are the
I'm looking at it right now
for Pat Murphy and where he is being held as far as respect to be Manager of the Year in the National League? Where does he stand? He's got to be higher than 8th?
I'll check them. I'll check the latest ones for you coming up here,
because I'm thinking of who some of these other managers might be, because you look at it. Philadelphia was picked to win their division.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta's not doing well, so their manager's not going to be in it. The Dodgers, they're ahead, but they got everybody under the sun that they need. They go out and spend $700 million on Shohei Ohtani, and I don't know who in the National League would be comparable to what Pat Murphy has done, because this team has not picked anybody. The preseason said, well, on August 1st, the Brewers are going to be 6 or 7 games ahead in their division. Not many teams would say that.
No. Pat Murphy is a leader. He is a leader. I'm just kind of looking at like odds checker that goes through a bunch of them.
Who's behind him? What's he ranked?
Carlos Mendoza right now, and then you've got
who's he managed?
Carlos Mendoza.
Yeah.
Carlos Mendoza is the Mets manager right now.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. So, and probably because of the run that the Mets have been on.
Yeah, they've been playing decent ball. Too. Yeah, because there was talk before the trade deadline was, the polar bear going to be traded, and some of these other guys.
Yep. But it looks like Pat Murphy has a comfortable lead in these odds here, which, again, I think Brewers fans will get a chuckle if how many years Craig Counsell always finished second.
Yep.
And in the first year, Pat Murphy would get the award there.
Be kind of ironic, wouldn't it?
And I guarantee you, Pat Murphy is going to say, not about me.
Yep.
It's the players that got him.
He just does seem like a calming effect. And when you got a team of all these young players, he's not a Billy Martin type of manager that's going to go out and throw helmets and baseball bats on the field. And, I got to get their attention. Pat Murphy knows how to get their attention, and I don't think he's putting undue pressure on them, and these kids are coming through.
Mm-hmm.
Just when I thought Bryce Terang was maybe going into a little lull, here he comes. And he's been, very, very good the last few games as well. So maybe this little swoon they had around the All-Star break now is over, hopefully, and they can get it back together, because this last homestand wasn't a good one.
It wasn't. And you've got a tough stretch coming up here now after this Braves one. It's going to be all at Milwaukee, but you got Cincinnati, who you know is going to want to give them their best shot, play spoilers. 4 games against the Dodgers, 3 games against the Guardians, and then you go on the road for 3 games against the Cardinals.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I see Kershaw is back with the Dodgers now. He pitched the other night, so it's it's tough road to hoe. But I'm thinking Murphy's got these guys under control, and he knows how to get the most out of these players, and hopefully, and they don't appear to be going into this August dog day type thing. They appear to be picking it up again now.
Yeah, but I just wanted to bring that because I don't know, it kind of flew under the radar a little bit.
Yeah, and I watched that Dodger game, and he talked about, but I missed that part of it. I didn't see that.
Yeah, let me see if I can play the clip here from Freddie Freeman here, just a quick. So, I mean, I thought that was obviously it made an impact for Freddie Freeman to mention that too.
Yeah, obviously, and it wasn't something that Murphy was seeking headlines on. It's just we're family, we're fathers.
It's a baseball family, and
exactly
all that. So,
there is a good side to professional sports. It's not all money, money, money. They're still human beings.
Right. Yep. Exactly. So, Pat Murphy's Q rating keeps going up and up and up right now. I think more in terms of just wins. It's how he seems to be as a human being.
I think he's in a good place too, knowing his history and his background and coming up through the game. He's been respected by people for years and years and years. But as far as the national media, he wasn't one of these hot managers to go to New York or someplace like that. I think he's comfortable in Milwaukee now. Whether he stays here or not, I don't know. But he's the right man in the right place at the right time.
Yeah. So, be an early game today, 11:20 is going to be first pitch for that Atlanta series. You've got Frankie Montas on the mound making his second start for the Brew Crew here. So
first one didn't go very well.
He picked up a win, but not the greatest.
Yeah, he was a little shaky, but yeah, anytime you can pick up the win, that's a good thing.
Yeah, he went 5 innings, 3 earned runs in that outing. Aaron Savali is the one that really
Savali, that's who I'm thinking of. Yeah.
He's the one that I think we'd all like to see kind of ratchet it up here a little bit.
More than a little bit.
Kind of get her going here. So, but it does seem like that the Brewers may be getting a little bit more healthier with their pitching staff. It sounds like DL Hall his return is imminent at this point, and now they're going to have to make some decisions in terms of, who's going to be in the bullpen, what, starting rotation and such. So, and Trevor McGill's going to be coming back here very soon. You got Hudson, Brian Hudson, that's going to be coming back here as soon as maybe even this weekend or even early part of next weekend. Or next week. So, getting some reinforcements back. And DL Hall is an interesting one here too, because he was a big time player for the Oilers, Baltimore Orioles last year when it came to September in the postseason. I mean, he kind of really stepped up, and that's when he really made a name for himself. So, I mean, if he can be a contributor in that plan when we get to September here and hopefully playoffs, it'll be interesting to see if they make him a bullpen or do they put him in a rotation. Is Aaron Savali, if he keeps kind of throwing like this, would they sub it out? But we know when we get to the postseason, you shorten your rotation. It's 3-4 man rotation at that point.
Yeah, there's no question about that. And I know he's not coming back this year, but do they give up updates on the condition of Woodruff? Do they update that, or since everybody says there's no way he's coming back this year?
Yeah,
we're just gonna keep him under the radar. And
this was last updated in February, but I mean, it's next year at this point. But he's in the dugout. I mean, him and Wade Miley have been with the team and with the dugout, kind of being mentors and coaches off to the side here too, which I'm glad to see that.
Well, if they're in the dugout, it means they're taking part in some kind of drills, whether it's, I don't know how much throwing is involved in that, but they're staying with the team, staying in shape and being part of the mix. That's a good thing. So hopefully they'll both recover.
Yeah. And I just think too, with that young pitching staff, whether you're a bullpen guy or a starter, to have the likes of a Brandon Woodruff and a Wade Miley around is, to another voice to kind of help you out or guidance in that. So, to answer Timmy G with a quick text, the teams expand their rosters September 1st, so they can start that on September 1st. But that's another thing to kind of keep in mind here too with that, and it's from 26 to 28 players. They can also carry up to 14 pitchers during that time.
And that's still over 3 weeks away, so I don't think anything you're excited about yet.
But, well, and knock on wood, there's no injuries that would affect that either, too.
Yeah, and at this point, they've managed the pitching staff, and outside of Yelich, Sanchez is back, but outside of Yelich, no major injuries to position players, and hopefully that will continue.
Yep. So, all right. Let's take a quick break and regroup here a little bit. We'll do that. So keep your thoughts coming. Hit us up with a quick text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. We'll take a look at today's matchup. Frankie Montas is on the mound for the Crew, looking for his second win and second starts. They're going to be going up against Charlie Morton with the Atlanta Braves, though, here too. So going to be another tough outing coming up here for this Brewers offense. Quick break, and then we'll finish up the first hour after these quick words. The final matchup, the championship matchup, is up for you to vote on Facebook or Twitter. Our bracket challenge of the most underrated Wisconsin sports athlete of all time, as nominated by you, the listeners, and as voted on by you, the listeners. We are in that championship round. It is Ben Sheets versus Amon Green. So that's how the voting went. You could go to our Facebook page or Twitter and go vote for that. We'll announce the winner tomorrow. So that's how. If you don't like it, I know some people were already complaining about it. That's why we didn't come up with the nominations. We put it out for the listeners to come up with the nominations, and we're letting the listeners vote. So that's how the voting went. Amon Green versus Ben Sheets. Would I have voted for that? Probably not, but each to their own, right?
That's right.
So
that's right.
It's a good little barroom banter talk to get her going there. So I think Ben Sheets is the early leader right now from what I looked on Facebook and Twitter. So
to have Ben Sheets in that pitching rotation right now.
Mm-hmm.
LSU product, just like Skeens.
The comparison I use for Ben Sheets, I don't know if 100% accurate, but is he kind of, and I know he went through some injuries and such, but with the teams that he's on, was he kind of a version of a Lynn Dickey? A little bit. I mean, great talent, but not on the best of teams when it came to the Brewers.
Oh, there's no question he wasn't on the best of teams. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they didn't have the best roster, that's for sure. But yeah, he was. If he'd have been in New York or Boston or one of those cities with a better team, I think he'd put up some really big numbers. But he did have a few injury problems as well. But when he was strong, he was one of the, like they say, he was one of the horses. He gave it to you every time out.
Was it 18 strikeouts that one game that he had out there too? So yeah,
he could bring it, as they say.
He was one of the joys of those Brewers teams to kind of grind through and try to watch.
Yeah, that's one thing about it. They always had a few guys that were worth watching.
Mm-hmm.
They were never really like the White Sox. I mean, who's on the White Sox? Brewers were never that bad, but who's on this White Sox team? Just think, 3-4 years ago, the White Sox were in the mix as potential playoff and
when Tony La Russa was there the first year. Yeah.
How they fell so hard so fast is beyond me.
Yeah. World Series champs in 2005?
Something like that.
They beat the Astros, Roger Clemens and Andy Pettitte.
Yep.
I remember watching that in my college apartment because it was a crappy college apartment and you could hear everything down below, so I had the volume up really loud. But yeah, good time. That was, I think Ozzie Guillen was still managing the White Sox.
Yep. I was just trying to think who the manager was. Ozzie Guillen. Yeah.
Yep.
He was a character.
I was just going to say, you never knew what was going to come out of some of his answers.
A little different than Pat Murphy.
Yes. Yep. Definitely. So, all right. Let's finish up this first hour, taking a look at today's game. We've got Frankie Montas on the mound for the Crew, looking for his second win as a Brewers starter. Charlie Morton's going on the mound here for the Atlanta Braves. Charlie Morton 6-6 so far this year with a 3.91 ERA.
Sweep.
He's coming off of a win against Miami where he went 6 innings, not giving up a run, just 5 hits over there. But his previous start against the Mets, not a great one. He picked up a loss, only went 2 2/3, but gave up 5 earned runs over there. Looking at the month of July, Charlie Morton wasn't the greatest. 0-2 with a 5.31 ERA. So right-handed pitcher. He's up there in age too. I didn't realize he was 40. He's 40 years old already.
Yep.
40 years old. So, but we'll see if this Brewers offense, that the lineup card in last night's game reminded me of those times when you're like, whether it's slow pitch softball or something like that, and it's just not working. It's like, all right, we're drawing names out of a hat, and that's how the order's going to go. You had Rhys Hoskins batting in the 2 spot, Gary Sanchez batting in the 3, Contreras batting in the 4, and it worked. Joey Ortiz had 3 hits, Blake Perkins had 3 hits, and some big hits with 3 RBIs total last night there too. So we'll see what the lineup card looks like today, but you like the chances, it sounds like, for the group.
Sweep. Bring out the broom.
Little August cleaning.
Absolutely. You got Atlanta's down. Keep them down.
Mm-hmm.
And so don't give Charlie Morton any kind of room to breathe and get on him early. And I hope I hope they do, but I think the Brewers can sweep Atlanta today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In Atlanta.
That would make up for kind of what's going on in the last 3 series.
Yeah, because when Atlanta came to Milwaukee here a week or two ago, they won the series, didn't sweep, but they won the series. So I'd like the Brewers to repay them in a big way with a sweep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would, and get some confidence and maybe some not confidence, but maybe some momentum
back.
Yes, yeah, because I think they still got confidence.
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
Just that momentum, getting back home. Because when you lose to Miami and then Atlanta, then you lose to Nationals. But that series, when you're at home and you're losing those, that's got to leave a sour taste in your mouth. You want to come back and try to reestablish your home field advantage.
Yeah, it really does, because the Brewer fans turn out in big numbers. They're good, supportive fans. They're not booing type fans, unless Craig Counsell is in the park. But otherwise, they're good, supportive fans. It's fun to go to that park. I really like going down there, and it's just a good atmosphere down there. And when you've been in first place literally the whole season, we're 5 months into the season, so it's not for lack of confidence if things go wrong. It's maybe they're tired, maybe somebody gets hurt, but at this point in time, they're still on top of it. We're well into August now, and it's been a good season. They've proven that they can beat good teams, and hopefully that will continue. There's no reason not to think it won't.
I'm going to try to find the number, but just how long the Brewers have been in first place this year. It's been a while. It's been a while,
almost since the beginning.
I think so. I mean,
they've been right there all the time.
I'll try to find that during the. This is why we need like our research team to get up early and join us this morning.
Oh, they don't get up at all.
Surveyor Sam wins the Kasper Classic, and now he's taking.
He won the Kasper Classic.
He did.
What did he shoot?
I just blanked on it. I'll have to double check it.
Oh, so, good for him.
Yeah, Surveyor Sam is your champ over there. So surprised we haven't had a whole
prizes and.
Well, the title belt is still in my office.
Is it really?
Yeah, he wasn't there when he won, so he got to miss out on because he golfed at 7:30.
Oh yeah.
So
well, he beat the heat.
He did. That was probably the smart thinking right there.
Absolutely. Early. Get in there early.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Now for next year, you all know when we do 7:30, maybe sign up for that, because the greens changed. Hearing like Surveyor and Philly fan Dave talk about how the greens changed as the sun got higher, warmer.
Sure. Well,
a little bit slower than they got.
Yeah.
And got a little bit slower than they got fast.
What do they call that speed on the greens? When they give that number, stemp on the stemp meter, 13 or 14. Those green, they get that fast in the pros. It's like putting on a linoleum floor.
Yeah. The worst hole that they had was the one that we were commenting on. I was on 4 right near by the clubhouse where we were broadcasting. So got a little nervous probably.
Was that
the par 3?
Par 3, okay.
Yep.
I like that hole.
Don't park next to it though. You might be a little couple years.
I can imagine with the gang that was playing in the Kasper Classic, there were a few that hit some of these spray balls.
Well, there's a couple years ago, we have there's an electric box right there.
Yeah.
Justice Cleveland smoked it. So luckily a car was saved by that electric box over there. So
well, I can't laugh too hard, because I've hit some shots like that in my career too.
Right. So, well, my partner hit a house. So I mean,
hit a house.
Yeah, I don't know if he's listening right
now. Which hole?
2. So those nice houses right behind the green.
On 2. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was just he hit it. I could tell you hit it well, and I just casually said house. Boom.
Well,
they didn't hit a window.
You live on a golf course, you got to expect that.
I wonder if the gentleman though who was cleaning his deck next door, if that kind of gave him a little bit of a jolt in the morning though when he heard that pop.
Well, that's part of living on a golf course. How many golf balls is your lawnmower eating up?
For sometimes maybe have a little fun if you're out there and one does it. Just kind of maybe lay down on the grass and pretend that you got hit with the ball and freak out the golfers.
Oh, that would do it. Especially if they did in the L4.
Right, exactly.
Oh, Lord.
But it was a good time. It was a good time on Friday. It was hot. And nobody told me this. When you get older, though, and you do an all-day event, your body hurts for a couple days afterwards. Oh, you didn't tell me that with age.
My body doesn't hurt.
Oh,
you're
in prime condition.
That's
man.
Right. When I went ranching in Montana and doing all that sort of stuff. Never had a problem.
Oh, I was hurting for a while.
Yeah, well, it's the heat. The heat
Yeah.
really catches up to you.
But
it's good to be able to do those sorts of things. It's great so many people turned out, raised so much money for Backyard Dreams. I mean, to help these groups or kids or whatever it is with some of their financial needs, because there are a lot of, as I like to say, a lot of good kids doing good things, and that kind of funding helps them do those good things.
Yep. I know we helped out a little leaguer, and you can remain anonymous, and that's what one of them was. But fees are up there, to play a little league. So we helped out one. We threw a donation out to the Babe Ruth team going to nationals too. So
good deal.
Bunch of different groups and teams helped out. So,
all
right, 1 hour in, we got a couple more to go here. Stick around. We'll talk a little football coming up after these news updates. Second hour on this Thursday morning coming at you right now. Appreciate you making us a part of your start here this morning. Coming up, we'll get back to some more Brewers baseball talk here in a little bit. Brewers going to be going for sweep later this morning, early afternoon, 11:20 first pitch between the Brewers and the Braves. So we'll get back to some more of that chat there. We'll get to some football chat coming up here in a little bit, as well as we get set for the first preseason game, in which
good preseason.
Starters,
I wait for this every
starters
year.
will be playing for the Packers, including Jordan Love.
Well, I don't have a problem with that.
So
hopefully not too long.
Does anybody have a problem with that? Yay or nay? Let us know with a quick hit on that texting line there. It is Thursday, so let's do a little throwback Thursday here. It was this day in 1992. The Dream Team clinched the gold medal at the Barcelona Summer Olympics. They had beaten Croatia 117-85. The 92 Dream Team that every other Dream Team basketball team now gets compared to, and people think that they could beat this one or that one, even this year's team. There's many that think they could beat the 92 team. Different eras, different times.
And the thing about it is, who cares?
Right.
Why waste your energy on something like that? Let's just follow this team and make sure they win the gold medal. I don't care whether one's better than the other. We'll never know. So why worry about it? Just worry about the fact that they're going to they better bring the gold medal home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. No doubt about it. I love learning a little bit more once in a while about the 92 Dream Team. I mean, there was a great podcast out that came out a couple of years ago. Who was it? Jack McCollum, because he wrote a book about the 92 Dream Team too. But the stories about the infamous practice game, I don't know if you've heard about that. There's clips of it. It was recorded, but you heard like Magic and Jordan and all of them say that was the best game they've ever played. So it was an inter-squad game.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan's team, Magic's team, a lot of trash talking back and forth.
Oh, I can imagine.
And all that. I think Jordan's team won over there, but it's just great quotes back and forth about that. And obviously the whole Isaiah Thomas conspiracy theory when it came to the 92 Dream Team. But I was the ripe old age of 6 when they played. But what was the hype, or what was the talk surrounding that team getting ready for the Olympics from what you remember?
Who was going to play?
Yeah.
How much time each one, and for every dream team, because that's what you have to call every U.S. team, is a dream team because it's some of the best players in the world. Because, you look at Luka playing with Croatia. Who else is on that team? They don't have a chance. Giannis with Greece. They don't have a chance. So it's every dream team from the U.S. is that way, and I think that's it. And just like this team, there's talk about some of these guys not getting much playing time. Well, they get kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say put in their place, but I mean, the hierarchy of basketball is still Kevin Durant, and it's, the guys that are playing, and it's LeBron, and those are the guys that are going to get the playing time. Booker's playing well. Jason Tatum is playing, but not dominating by any means, but that just shows you how good the U.S. team is. And I think that was a scenario every year, even back in 92 with the Dream Team. The Christian Laettner was on that team. Well, he might have been carrying towels around in the shower room for these guys. That's how much he was thought of as far as being able to contribute to that team. He was just a token college player that was put on that team.
Right.
I mean, he didn't amount to anything as far as that team is concerned, and nobody expected he ever would. But that's always the talk of who's all these guys that are supposed stars in the NBA, who's not going to get much playing time. And I think that's always going to be the way of it with the U.S. team.
Yeah, if you haven't, there's a good clip. Let me play a little bit about the greatest game ever played as some of these guys from that Dream Team talk to us. So here's a little bit of a little bit of a clip about from that practice. Magic was hesitant. There you go. So that's and they had video clips of the practice going on too. So that would have been awesome
It
to
was
watch.
it was just a different era of, those guys. Everybody, the thing is now, back then, everybody knew how good the other one was, and
Hmm.
they respected that. Bird and Magic and Jordan, and where Karl Malone, he wasn't on that mountaintop with those guys. But nowadays, it's just different. I don't think they have the same respect for each other that they did back then, because as much as those guys competed against each other and trash talked each other, they all respected. I mean, Magic and Bird knew
Hmm.
that Michael Jordan was taking over.
Yep.
They had their place in the sun. They weren't going anyplace, but they weren't on the mountaintop like they were. Michael was now on the mountaintop. Well, now I don't think you get that so much, that respect for the top talent in the league. I just don't. And they're not personalities like they were back then with Barkley and Magic and Michael Jordan.
Right.
It's just not not the same. I don't know, the same flow, the same. It was fun to watch the competition because they competed,
Hmm.
but it was fun watching because they respected each other.
Hmm.
And it's just different world now. But back then, it was that was some really, really intense practices and really good players who knew they were good, but the other guys respected how good they were.
And I know it kind of changed in the later '90s, but I would always say too, they respected each other, but they wanted to beat each other. Like Karl Malone wouldn't go join up against with like Jordan or something like that, those Jazz and Bulls
Mm-hmm.
finals. Whereas now you got these super teams, they wanted to beat them, right? And there was a obvious respect there, and that obviously changed in the later nights. Ewing, didn't leave early from his Knicks career. Obviously Malone, and then he tried later with the Lakers and that. But there was that sense too, where it was like, no, we want to beat them. We don't want to necessarily join forces. We want to beat them. And that's what I miss.
Yeah, you and me both. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's money's too much part of the game. I mean, back then those guys made good money, but now it's seems to be the first priority,
Mhm.
not the competition, not the success. It's just where can I go to be on a super team and maybe make it easier to win a championship?
Mhm.
It's a different mindset among the players.
And it was more of a I feel the NBA, and I'm a Bucks fan obviously too, but I feel like it's such an individualized sport, especially for maybe younger fans, because these players jump every few years, so they're fans of the players. But back then, it was still I'm a fan of the team. You're a Bulls fan probably because of Jordan, or I'll go back to remember the old winter starter jackets. Everybody had
Mhm,
the Hornets
mhm.
one or the Bulls, whatever. It felt like it was more you were a fan of the team compared to what maybe it is now, because I feel like there's so much movement with these players.
Yeah, it's hard to associate anybody with a team. I mean, like Giannis with the Bucks, that's unusual
Mhm.
nowadays.
But what's everybody just assuming is going to happen? He's going to leave.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah,
exactly,
they
exactly.
just assume he's going to leave.
And that's why it's hard to, invest a whole lot of yourself in these teams. Yeah, we're Bucks fans through and through. I'll root for the
Mhm.
Bucks every day. But you're also realistic that, and I'm surprised Giannis is still there. I'm happy as can be that he's still there. But, it just, the game has changed so much that it's almost like, well, I expected that to happen.
Mhm.
Back then, Jordan wasn't leaving the Bulls. Magic wasn't leaving the Lakers.
Yeah.
Malone wasn't leaving the Jazz.
Bird wasn't leaving the
No, Bird
Celtics. Yeah.
wasn't leaving the Celtics. It's just the way it was,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah. It's
And Barkley, if Barkley would have been on a good team, he went to Philadelphia, then he went to Arizona, got to the finals, Phoenix. But if he'd have been on a good team, he wouldn't have left either.
Mhm.
He would have stayed with the team.
Yeah. All the good old days. The good
Well,
old
I think
days.
it was, is the basketball better? That a question to that is the basketball better now as a spectator sport than it was back then?
Ooh, an early receiver defer.
There you
Think about
go.
that one.
Yeah.
We'll let it marinate a
All
little
right.
bit.
All
That's
right.
a good question. I like that. I think I have my answer, but I want to think about it a little
Yeah.
bit. So,
From a spectator point of view, I mean,
mhm.
these guys can do it, jump out of the gym and this, that, and everything. But from a spectator point of view, is it a better product than we had back in the 90s for that era we were just listening to?
Mhm. Yeah. All right, let's take a quick break here, and then we'll switch gears up, talk a little football. Packers training camp still going on, but the first preseason game coming up here on Saturday. Packers did avoid a potential major injury scare yesterday at practice. We'll tell you who and what happens after these few words. Our conservation warden buddy, Mr. Jake Boakes, is going to be on a little bit earlier. He's going to be on at 8:05 this morning. So if you've got any questions for Jake, now is the time to text them to us on our Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. 715-830-1912. We know we got those antlerless tags going to be going on sale starting next week, so don't forget to set your alarms or check the schedule when your certain areas are going to be available and such. So if you got any questions with that, with the upcoming hunting season, or still with fishing going on, let us know. So it's Farm Tech Days next week, intern?
Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Looks like I've checked the forecast ahead of time. Looks like we're going to have beautiful weather, 70s and 80s. So should be fun up there. It's easy to find the old, not the old, but the Country Fest grounds up there in Jamie Close Farm. So it should be a good one. Hope everybody stops up and visits us. We'll be there in booth 450, I believe.
450.
I saw a little tent out in the grounds like everybody else in Tent City. So stop and see us.
I was driving around, coming back from Holcomb the other day, and I already saw the sign saying Farm Tech Days this way, follow the roads. They were up in Jim Falls, kind of directing traffic already. So telling you, if you want to go, that's the way to go. So
close to home.
Yep, definitely. So, and I know Jake's going to be there too. I know you mentioned that last Thursday.
Yeah, DNR always has a big presence out there because let's face it, the rural area has a lot of DNR presence in it because of the hunting and the fishing and everything else. So
exactly.
So a lot of questions you get answered, or whatever the case may be. A lot of things going on.
All right. Packers practice yesterday. They probably the big note from yesterday is that they avoided maybe a potential big injury, but it was towards it was the last play of practice, a little end zone work there, and it was a pass to Christian Watson that got tipped away, but he landed face down in pain. Players were down on one knee. But apparently everything's good. He walked off, slight limp, but he said afterwards a knee kind of hit him in the thigh there a little bit, but sounds like he's good. Don't know if he'll play on Saturday, just to be cautious, but it's not a soft tissue injury, which, we're kind of maybe concerned about. So, but Watson said, I don't know if it was a knee or his cleat, but something just kind of hit me in the knee. It hurt a lot worse at that in the moment. So, and we've kind of all had that happen, right?
Absolutely.
In the moment,
and
sort of thing.
Christian, as soon as you mentioned injury in Christian Watson, I thought, oh no, not again.
Yeah,
that guy's had some problems, some challenges staying healthy and staying on the field. But when he's on the field, he's very, very good.
Packers, I'm going to throw this as an early receiver defer question. So Greg Joseph and Anders Carlson kind of been the two kickers in camp, the main two kickers in camp, and they've had a third one off and on. And the Packers brought in another kicker. This is like, I don't know how many other kickers they brought in, but Alex Hale, Oklahoma State's, he was part of a workout group the other day, but the Packers signed him, and he got some kicks in with the team yesterday. And it was a struggle from practice, it sounds like, because of the wind and such. But the fact that the Packers keep bringing in a different third kicker, receiver defer, does it mean that they're not sold on either Joseph or Anders Carlson right now?
I think you can say yes, they're not sold. I'll buy that. I mean, that the kid last year cost them advancing in the playoffs. That's the bottom line. He missed kicks he should have made.
And this guy that they brought in, he played last season in the UFL, missed one kick. He originally signed with the Cowboys in 2022, where he out of Texas Tech. He also played there, where he once made a 62-yard game-winning field goal, according to Rob Domofsky. So, but the fact that they keep bringing in another new third kicker, that just to me tells me that they're not sold yet on these first two.
No, and I'm telling you, and I'm sure these kickers find out when they come to Green Bay, it's a different animal. You're outside, you're on that grass, you got the wind. When it gets a little bit further into the fall, the weather gets a little colder. You're not kicking in Dallas, you're not kicking in a dome, you're not, in Detroit, Minnesota. I mean, guys that can kick in Green Bay, in Chicago, and Buffalo, places like that, those guys earn their money because it's an uncertain environment, unlike the domes or the warm stadiums.
Yeah.
It's a different. You got to be a different class of kicker to make it with the Bears or the Buffalo Bills or Green Bay Packers. Some even Denver. Some of these places are a big challenge to kick in.
Yeah. And I think it's also part that they know the team they have and they don't want to be held back by a kicker having issues.
Oh boy, that and it so happens so many times. I mean, you go back and you can't blame the kicker. That's his one play or two plays a game, but he's got to perform. It's like a wide receiver dropping a couple balls in a game. That hurts. And it's just that the kicker, when they miss a field goal or an extra point, I mean, it's out in front of God and everybody, so to speak, sees all that. And it's not, you run another play from scrimmage, but you miss that kick and it's over. You don't have the ball anymore.
The spotlight is a lot brighter on you when you're a kicker and you're on a team that has championship aspirations. And if you're struggling, that's the pressure's on. I mean, the bigger the moment. I mean, Harrison Butker, look at the Chiefs. Guy's been nailing kicks, and it's a big time moments, off field stuff, whatever. I know he's got drama there, but on the field and football stuff, I mean, you don't really necessarily worry about the kicking situation when it comes to those type of teams when they got their kicker in place.
The Packers never did for years with Mason Crosby. They knew he wasn't going to kick the longest field goal, but by golly, when you got him in manageable range, he didn't miss. Very seldom. I think he had one little slump in his career towards the end of his career, but otherwise he was automatic. And boy, this kid that they've got now, this Carlson, he's a hazard even on extra points. I'm sure the kid's disappointed in himself too, but wow, they got to get consistency with that kicker.
Yeah, because I don't know who's going to be kicking for this team, but I'll tell you, if it's an extra point or a field goal, and I don't care how far or how close it is, I'll be holding my breath for a while for a few games.
I always do. I mean, even you just do with the kickers because they're different animals, so to speak. They're not. Are they football players or not? They got some that never didn't know the game. They come over and played soccer or whatever, and they got them. Morton Anderson, type of guy, or they've kicked well, but it's a different mindset to be a kicker. I was never a kicker, but you look at that, it's a different pressure. All of a sudden you got to be ready at the drop of a hat to save a game or win a game or do whatever it is. And, it's a pressure packed position. There's no question about it. So you got to be the kind of guy that can handle that. Just being a kicker is one thing, but you got to have the mental aptitude to do it as well.
I mean, think about some of the, in the back end of his career, some of those kicks that Mason Crosby made. Dallas, in that playoff game. Yeah. The 49ers a couple of years ago over there too, where Rodgers hit two throws to Devontae, and then he, makes that. I mean, a couple big moments. I was still nervous thinking, over there. But, I mean, would you have more confidence of a guy like Mason hitting that or an Anders Carlson right now?
Oh, yeah. Mason Crosby by far. I think that's a good receiver to fur. As you look at the Packers roster this year, when you talk about offense, defense, kick returns, kick coverage, and kicking, receiver to fur, the kicking portion of the game from the standpoint of the field goal kicker makes you the most nervous, apprehensive of any of those other teams within the organization.
Yeah, I mean, and then you factor in the new kickoff rules, right? You got to hit
what
it
exactly
into a
certain new kickoff
rules.
Boy, because I've heard this, and I didn't pay all that much attention, but I've heard these new kickoff rules and this, and I don't know what they are.
So I'll tell you how they're officially worded from the NFL.
Okay.
But I feel like this is going to be a trial to watch. This is why you should watch preseason games here, Bob, so you understand it now.
Well, I was going to watch the Hall of Fame game, and then I got tied up with something else. But I plan to watch just to watch the kickoff to see what these rules are.
So the ball is kicked from the 35-yard line, same as the current rule. The alignment, though, all kicking team players other than the kicker will line up with 1 foot on the receiving team's 40-yard line. The kicker cannot cross the 50-yard line until the ball touches the ground or a player in the landing zone or end zone. We got a landing zone now with these kickoff rules, okay? There's a lot here. The 10 kicking team players cannot move until the ball hits the ground or the player in the landing zone or in the end zone. So it's kind of like XFL. Nobody can move until that ball touches the ground or the receiver catches it. So like no running starts. The receiving team will line up as fouls. The setup zone, a 5-yard area from the 35 to the 30-yard line where at least 9 receiving team players must line up. At least 7 players with a foot on the 35-yard line with alignment requirements, outside numbers to the hashes, inside hashes, whatever. Players not on the restraining line must be lined up in the setup zone outside the hash marks. All players in the setup zone cannot move until the kick has hit the ground or a player in the landing zone or in the end zone. The landing zone is an area between the receiving team's goal line and its 20-yard line. So the red zone is the landing zone here. Any kick that hits short of the landing zone, so 20 on up, is treated like a kickoff out of bounds, and the ball is spotted at the 40-yard line. So that's why it's kind of important now where you, with your kickers, got to get it in that landing zone. If it lands short, gets moved up to the 40-yard line.
That's a severe penalty.
Any kick that hits in the landing zone must be returned. Any kick that hits in the landing zone and then goes into the end zone must be returned or downed by the receiving team. If downed, the touchback is now at the 20-yard line. Kicks that hit in the end zone stays in bounds, returned or downed. If downed, then okay. So if a kick hits in the end zone, stays in bounds, and is downed, then the touchback is to the 30. Any kick that goes out of the back of the end zone in the air of the bounce goes to the 30 as well. Onside kick. Fourth quarter begins. The team trailing has the opportunity to declare an onside kick to the officials. Current onside kick rules will apply. So you can't do an onside kick whenever you want it. No surprise onside kicks. And you have to declare it in the fourth quarter. There's a lot.
But old Campbell from Detroit doesn't like that rule.
Yeah, there's a lot. If conditions cause the ball to fall off the tee twice, the same stuff over there too. But yeah, there's
at first blush, I don't like it, but I haven't seen it in effect, so I can't make a final decision. But at first blush, it doesn't appeal to me.
I think
it's over coaching or over managing.
It's trying to increase returns in the game to get, because, and a lot of this too is Super Bowl didn't have any returns. And we've seen that before. The biggest game on the world's biggest stage, and you don't have the return, which is so weird because it was long. I mean, we were talking about a few years ago. They're trying to get rid of the kickoff.
Yeah, exactly.
They're trying to get rid of the kickoff. Now they want it back, but they don't want it back under the old one, so no wedge plays or anything like that. So they're trying to do this. This is going to be very interesting to follow, and it's probably going to take a little bit of adjustment, and I'm not sure if I'm going to understand it right away, so I need to see a few games.
Probably. I hope the officials understand it, because this can be a mess.
And that's where Rich Bisaccia, so when they were voting on this, you'd think one team that would benefit would be Green Bay, right? You got an all-pro kick returner if this is going to help benefit more returns. They actually voted no. They were one team out of 2 or 3 that voted no for it. And Rich Bisaccia explained why. He said they would have rather seen it experiment in preseason before committing to it in the regular season, which I understand.
That would have been a good idea.
Yeah, which I understand. Like, oh yeah, because that's a lot of moving parts, and yeah, it's just landing zone thing. That's where it goes to the kicker. You need an accurate kicker to make sure you get it in that landing zone now too. I don't know, but we'll see.
20 yards, though, that's a pretty good landing zone. Pretty good distance,
you would think. Yeah, you would think.
But I just think they're over managing the game.
Because sometimes you see that kicker, I don't know if it's on purpose, but that like line drive swivel kick, like if they don't get it all. And so I'm assuming then if it's one of those, but it hits at the 30, when it first hits at the 30, even though if it goes, does that mean they get it up to the 4? I don't
like that 40-yard line at all.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's all going to play out. So, all right, let's take a quick break and then we'll do some receive or defer. If you got any nominations for a little receiver defer, let us know. Hit us up with a text 715-830-1912. Quick break. We'll be back. Last call for any questions for our DNR warden buddy, Mr. Jake Boakes. He's going to be on a little bit earlier this morning, 8:05. So text them on over at 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. Let's finish up this second hour with a little receive or defer. I'm going to start it off this time.
Go for it.
I've got one. I was thinking about this actually yesterday. I was preparing myself for this. So the Cleveland Browns unveiled some drawings, mock-ups of their potential new stadium. It's got a roof. Got a roof on it. Receive or defer. In the next 10, 15 years, there will be, and this is just, I don't know if there's any other stadiums up for lease or whatever. Let's just say 10, 15 years, receive or defer, there will be 5 or fewer NFL stadiums that have open tops.
I probably receive that. I mean, they want creature comfort for the fans, and
be able to hold more events year long, sort of thing.
And I guess if that's what they want to do, that's fine. I mean, we'll never see it here, but I have to agree with that. I think even modify like SoFi Stadium. I've never seen it, but looking at the pictures, that's even kind of a modified dome stadium. It's open, but yet it's covered. But I think that's the way of the world.
I was trying to think of the stadiums that quote unquote would never. I can't imagine would have a roof on. Lambeau, number one. That wouldn't. I don't think. I guess never say never, but I would be shocked.
Oh, I don't know.
Pittsburgh, I don't think would
I
ever.
think Pittsburgh traditional. I don't think Buffalo would either.
Yeah.
Well, and then of course you got Miami and Dallas has got the modified dome and things like that. You'll see variations on a theme, but I think there are some that it's a competitive edge that I think they like.
And even like with Buffalo's new stadium, they got a little bit of one, but it's not completely. It's just kind of on the edges, a little bit of a roof there, but it's not completely covered, it looks like, and there's second renderings there. But I'm thinking like the cold weather state, like Denver, Mile High.
I think Denver will. I don't think New York would ever have one. Maybe not.
Baltimore, I
don't think Baltimore's got a pretty nice climate. But again, like you said, you want to hold events are all year round, and for rain and maybe winter events that you don't want to hold outside, even though winter's not bad in some of those areas. Well, I think there'll be more than 5. Yeah, Chicago's
gonna have a dome.
I was gonna say Chicago's changing. They're gonna have a dome for their teams, which I think is a major mistake. The Windy City. Why would you? But Chicago's made a lot of mistakes.
Well, they want to hold a Super Bowl. They want to hold a Final Four now.
I know it.
What is it? Maybe is Green Bay going to be the only Midwest team to have an open roof?
Might be.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
So, I don't know.
I mean, some of these stadiums are beautiful facilities. They put a lot of money into it, that and the other thing. But, football is an outdoor sport, and I know weather can get in the way. But really and truly, you look at how many years the Packers have been playing football in an outdoor stadium, and how many times has it really, you got the Ice Bowl.
And that's where I was going to ask you how much of I don't know if hit would be the right way to say it, but, the Ice Bowl, and then all of a sudden,
home field advantage.
Yeah, we talk about that, we glorify it, and then what would happen if 10 years Lambeau had a roof? Can you glorify it anymore? Can you, because does it lose a little bit of that?
I think so.
I do too. So
yeah, I don't think you'll ever see a roof on Lambeau or a stadium if they ever would build. I don't know. Then they're not going to build a new stadium in Green Bay with all they've done at Titletown District and everything else. But if the Cleveland wants to have I'd hide that team if I was in Cleveland too. I'd hide that team as much as I could too.
Hide the dog pound under a dome over there. So
there you go.
All right, I wanted to get that one in there. So I was thinking about that since yesterday. I didn't want to forget about it.
No,
so
that's
go for it now.
But how much is that stadium? These stadiums aren't getting any cheaper, and when you add that roof, it adds a lot of money.
And that's what a lot of people are saying. Why you're seeing a lot of these teams now do the roof because it costs so much for these stadiums, so they got to figure out other events to have over there. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think, like Seattle has, if you've ever been to Seattle, their baseball stadium and football stadium stand side by side.
Mm-hmm.
And they tore down the Superdome years ago to build this new stadium. And I don't think they want to go back to a dome stadium.
No. And I think the thing that helps Green, even if they had a dome, they're never, ever, 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 ever hosting a Super Bowl. They just don't have the capacity to do it. So, that would be the one thing. Chicago, you can if they had a dome.
Chicago can, absolutely.
So,
all right. And I don't think a place like San Francisco ever wants a dome. They like the fog or whatever, the atmosphere there. But all right, let's go to the Olympics here. Receiver defer. I mean, you watch so many of these sports that they've got their core fan base. I watch some of these sports and I'm thinking, wow. Receiver defer. Softball has to be back in as an Olympic sport.
Receive.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe they don't have softball when they've got some of these other sports that we've had a chance to watch, if you want to watch them.
I mean, I remember being younger, I knew who Jenny Finch was because of the Olympics.
Yeah, exactly.
I knew who Kat Osterman, was that how you pronounce her last name?
Kat Osterman.
Yeah. I knew who she was because of the Olympics.
I think
and that's how you got to see them on that stage.
Yep.
So 100%. Yep.
Because you look at, who watches sword fighting, and some of these other things that they have for sports.
How do you get into speed walking? Like, what's the rules
I watched
of speed
that.
walking?
That was on yesterday or the day before, and I watched that. Oh man, I'd throw a hip out if I made some of those maneuvers for 5 or 10 miles.
Right.
They'd be picking me up off the pavement. But what kind of excitement is there to watching some of that stuff?
Mm-hmm.
So Olympics have to get women's softball back in the mix. Also, receiver defer. Golf should add a team event of some kind for the Olympics. Either, I don't know if you want to 2-man teams. I don't think you want to go to 4-man because of the President's Cup.
Mm-hmm.
And the every year we have something. But I think golf needs a team event.
So a little kind of like
doubles, or here you have Scotty Scheffler and Xander Schauffele as a team, or
kind of like a little Ryder Cup-esque sort of thing where you have a 2-person team and then individual.
Yeah. And maybe it would be mixed.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it would be Scotty Scheffler and Nelly Korda.
So
men and women.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. Yeah. It's kind of almost then like gymnastics where you have the team events where they want to go, then you have the individuals afterwards.
Exactly.
I'd buy that.
Because there were a lot of people watching those golf tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
Watching the men last week, and I was watching the women the other day or yesterday, whenever they started. And, there are a lot of people watching the women too. And I think they could have a nice team event too.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, I just, from watching lately, receiver defer, Jim Harbaugh has to be the scuzziest college football coach ever.
I was going to bring him up actually in a receiver defer. I don't know about scuzziest.
But under the table cheating and maneuvering things. My goodness.
My receiver defer was going to be, is the NFL going to hand down some sort of suspension? Because they have done that in the past where guys comes in, even when he was helping out the Colts as an advisor, they suspended him for like a game or two.
But that was for different things.
But it was similar penalties where the college, because there are talks, would the NFL do that because they've done this in the past, and Tressel being an example of that. I don't think the NFL will, because I think that takes a hit to the attention that would get drawn to the Chargers
they don't
this year.
Want negative attention.
So whereas Tressel he was in a booth. He wasn't like on the field. He wasn't like that sort of thing.
He wasn't the face of the franchise.
Yeah. So I don't think the NFL will do anything, even though there's some people thinking they're going to, or maybe it's another slap on the hand fine sort of thing.
And I know it's recruiting violations, but I haven't heard what the violations were.
Some of it.
What is illegal compensation nowadays with NIL and the transfer portal and everything else? What is illegal compensation? I don't know what he did.
It was first of all, it was contacting with recruits during the COVID when, illegal contacts with recruits and that. But there's,
and what's in
the 4-year
what's an illegal
show cause?
contact? Come on, this is the Wild West now as far as college recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who monitors this stuff, and why do you monitor it anyway? I mean, just recruit the way you recruit. It's not ethical the way it used to be years and years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So turn them loose and go for it. And if you guys want to ruin your own sport, you go for it.
I feel like it's not going to do anything because Harbaugh is not going back to the college ranks. I think this is his final stop in his career, regardless of how it ends.
Oh yeah, I think he's made enough money. He doesn't need it. He's getting to the point where.
And if he ever wanted to do TV, networks would line up to hire him.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, they would line up to hire that guy. So, no, I don't think the NFL is going to do anything, but I guess we'll see.
But his reputation has been,
and we kind of knew that though too. Like last year, like it's like, all right, because there was those rumblings, like, yeah, this is his final year because avoid being suspended,
exactly,
and that sort of stuff. So I think we were prepared for something.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Will he go into the College Hall of Fame as a coach? I don't think he will.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's a good question. By the way, just a quick note too, Kenny Bednarik, I believe, is running around 130 today. If anybody going 200. Back to the 200, yeah, about 130 our time here is what I saw yesterday. So give or take probably a few minutes there, but that's his main event, the 200 too. So, and I know he had the fastest qualifying time there, but we'll see if that kind of transpires into maybe a gold. Got a silver last year.
Yeah, so hopefully he'll get a gold.
What a photo finish in that 100. You saw that, right?
Yes,
Holy moly.
What is it, 1/1000th of a second or something like that?
Yeah.
Unreal.
Kenny was a 10th of a second from medaling, and he finished 7th. That's how close everything was. So, man. But U.S. is dominating. I mean, dominating in the medal counts right now. 95 total medals. Next closest is China at 67. U.S. is leading in both gold, silver, and bronze medals too. So
yeah, it's been a nice performance by some people, and it's really. I saw the guy that won the 1500 meters was a major upset, and he just was in the right place at the right time. He said on the track.
Yeah,
perfect calculation of the race.
Yep. Did you have any more?
No, that'll be it for now.
All right, that's all I had too. So
yeah, I had some other ones. I drive around and I'm thinking about. I said, that's a good receiver. By the time I get here on Thursday, I forget what it was.
This is an interesting nugget. So the Brewers have the 4th best run differential in Major League. I like run differential numbers. I know they don't tell the whole story, but I think it's kind of interesting. 4th best run differential in all of Major League Baseball. That is higher than even the Dodgers. They got a better run differential than the Dodgers.
I think they almost have a better record than the Dodgers, don't they, or do they?
They're still a couple games back here. Let me bring up
but they've been competitive. I mean, they play their schedule. The Dodgers and all the other teams play their schedules, and the Brewers are right there among the best teams in the league.
64 wins for the Brewers, 66 wins for the Dodgers, 68 wins for the Philadelphia Phillies. So, I mean, it's not that far back.
No, they're right there.
The 3 teams that have a higher run differential than the Brewers. Philadelphia, probably no big surprise. Brewers, by the way, have a plus 92. Philadelphia is a 106. And then you have to go to the 2 American League East teams. Baltimore, so actually, they're better than Baltimore, plus 90. The Yankees, plus 118. So Kansas City actually has a plus 94.
How is Corbin Burns doing this year? I haven't seen his record lately. I know he was pitching pretty good early on. I don't know if he's been able to maintain that because Baltimore's got a nice team.
They do. I'll look up the numbers here for you in a little bit because we got Jake Volks coming up here a little bit early. He's got an event at 8:30, so he's going to be answering some questions coming up here in just a few minutes after we take a quick break, and we got some news updates for you.
Politics, we can do that. Headlines that bring us nearer to our area include a plea deal for a woman who stole $75,000 from the corner store in Eau Claire. Prosecutors saying 34-year-old Devin Becker pleaded guilty to felony theft charges in exchange for a deferred sentence. She told police she took the money to pay for her cocaine and drinking habit, and as part of the deal, she will avoid prison if she doesn't commit any new crimes in the next 16 years. She'll also have to pay $100,000 to the corner store. And you may or may not know, 50 years ago, there was a French high wire artist who actually walked across the Twin Towers. And they're marking that anniversary with events tonight and tomorrow, right, Christian?
Philippe Petit astounded New York City on August 7th, 1974, when he strutted and danced across a tightrope unlawfully rigged between the towers. The remarkable stunt was captured in the Academy Award-winning documentary Man on Wire. Petit, who turns 75 next week, is taking to the high wire at St. John the Divine. He's being joined by various artists taking part in 19 short scenes conceived and directed by Petit, and musician Sting, who's performing new music. Petit is an artist in residence at the Upper West Side Cathedral. Kristen Marks, NBC News Radio, New York.
You know, the Casper Classic was a doozy this year. Everybody had a great time talking to some of the golfers out there, but we all agree this was probably the best part of the day. Do you remember when
he strutted and danced across a tightrope?
So good. For Sports Talk 105.1. I'm Morgan McCarthy.
Showers depart the area with our next cold front moving through, and that'll give way to plenty of sunshine and a noticeable breeze out of the northwest going into the afternoon, anywhere from 10 to 20 miles per hour for the sustained winds. Otherwise, a little bit cooler for today, topping out in the low 70s, staying mostly clear for tonight, falling to the low 50s once again. And for tomorrow, intervals of clouds and sun with temperatures topping out near 70. I'm 13 First Alert meteorologist Mike D'Andrea.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds, which could be life-changing. I mean, you could put that money towards that zero-turn lawnmower you've always wanted. And after using its edge-shaping technology to meticulously sculpt the face of the Mona Lisa into your grass, you'll become the undisputed king of Saturday morning lawn care, leaving your neighbor and sworn enemy Gary to question his place in the delicate neighborhood ecosystem. And it's all because you could save money switching at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, not available in all states.
9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half's recruiting professionals utilize their award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent.
From the hardwood and the diamond to the gridiron and the course, Dan's got you covered with his trademark blend of sports passion and knowledge. He has the sports info you want and the sports therapy you need. So get your game face on, people.
Let's go get some bell, huh? Put up a shut-up time.
We gotta get it started from the jump.
Play big. Let's go.
That's what legends made, man.
It's showtime.
Welcome to the big leagues. Let's go. Because it's the Dan Kasper Show.
All right, here we go. The final hour on this Thursday morning. A big thanks to all of you for tuning in and making us a part of your start on this Thursday morning of August 8th. We'll get back to some more Brewers chats. Brewers going to be going up against the Braves, hopefully for a series sweep. Just a couple hours from now. First pitch going to be around 11:20 here this morning. So we'll get back to some more Brewers chats. We'll get back to some more of your comments as well. Hit us up on that texting line, that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line, 715-830-1912. We begin now with a little early version of our outdoor tidbits.
Answering your questions and giving you the tips you need to be successful and safe in the outdoors. It's time for your outdoor tidbits. Have a question you'd like answered by Jake? Send it to us, and we'll ask for you.
He is Mr. Jake Boakes, conservation warden for the great state of Wisconsin, joining us here a little bit earlier this morning. Jake, how you doing, big guy?
I'm doing good. Appreciate you sneaking me up a little bit this morning.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Hey, first off, we got a question from a gentleman who's wanted to know about hunter safety class. He said that my son will have to do hunter safety soon. Are classes only available during certain times of the year, or is it a year-round thing?
Yeah, that's a great question. So generally, there are certain times of the year where it seems like the instructors run them, and it's usually the spring right before the turkey hunts, especially the youth turkey season, and then the fall before gun deer season. But they are available year-round. So any hunter safety, ATV, boating, snowmobile, all those types of safety courses are offered year round. It's just whenever the instructors want to set them up. So the way that our safety classes work is they're actually, they're supported by the DNR and our staff, but it's really the volunteers that do a lot of the work. That's why, we really appreciate anyone that has volunteered, is volunteering, will volunteer in the future, because, you guys are the ones that are teaching these kids how to hunt and snowmobile and do everything the right way in a safe way. But they're the ones that put the courses on, so they're the ones that decide where they want to host it, what dates they want to do it. Is it a couple of days in a row, or is it one class a week for a couple of weeks, or whatnot? So it's really up to them. If someone's interested, or you're curious, or you're looking for a class, all you need to do is go to our DNR website. And when you go to the DNR website, you can just type in hunter safety, however, or follow the links. And then you basically just go and search and look for a class. So when you look for these classes, basically you're going to pop open an Excel document. And on that Excel document, it's going to show you all the available courses in the state. So you can click statewide, or you can click Eau Claire County, or select the different counties to see if there's some locally. But basically it'll open it up and you'll see all the instructor information, contact information, class information statewide. You just got to kind of narrow down where you want to go.
So a couple of good points there too. Maybe a lot of people don't realize the teachers of this, they're volunteers, right? They're not necessarily like a DNR award. I know you've kind of joined in a class or was a guest speaker or something like that, but they're volunteers that help out with this.
They're 100% volunteers. They do it because they love teaching, love giving back, want to see kids or even adults with some of our adult courses, or online courses. They want to see adults and everyone be safe and successful. So I always mention in every class, I love doing it, but I also get paid to come there in for an hour and talk about what a warden does, and talk on regulations and safety and such. But those guys and gals are there for the love of the sport and wanting to teach the youth. So it's a noble thing they're definitely doing.
And it's a little bit different. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it a little bit different than maybe when you and I did hunter safety? Because I remember it was like, okay, I'm going to be about 12 years old, or I'm 11 years old. You can do it a little bit younger now, correct?
Yeah. So there used to be age requirements, and a lot of those are based off the fact is just if you've had kids, they all mature or grow up at different rates. Whether it's emotionally or maturity or just your size. So they used to have it, but now you can go in at 10, 9, technically. Some instructors don't like it or allow it because they want people older that can handle it. But, if you got a boy or girl that's grown up, they're taller than average, they're just developing quicker, and they're 9, and you think you can get them in, I mean, technically you could, but, we always just tell parents to bring them in when you think they're ready to understand the importance of the safety part of it, and that's a good time to get them in to start learning how to hunt safely.
I remember, I think it was like 5th or 6th grade. Everybody, I think, had their hunter safety folders in their backpacks because classes were right after school or something like that. So
yeah,
those were the good old
and
days.
there still are. Yeah, there's definitely still some, including like ATV and boats and stuff that are hosted in schools or in summer. If they got some summer courses and different things like that. So. It seems like at least around here, the classes I go to, most of them are held at the sportsmen's clubs and such, which is a nice venue for it.
Absolutely. Jake, I know this was a release a couple days ago, but maybe a good reminder because we are inching closer to hunting season. But the sharp-tailed grouse hunting season will be closed for 2024. I was reading a little bit. Said that even though the spring population survey results indicated a slight increase, but that sharp-tailed grouse season will remain closed for 2024, and no permits or applications will be available or accepted this year.
Yeah, so no, that's a good thing to note. It's been so on and off for the last few years. I don't know a ton of people, at least locally, that try to go out for the grouse or for the sharp-tail, excuse me. But the important thing is to make sure to try to learn how. If you're a grouse hunter, you probably know how to identify the difference in them. But with the season being closed, you got to make sure that you identify a rough grouse versus a sharp-tailed grouse, and you know what you're shooting, just like pheasants, just like ducks. You're shooting the right species when you're out there. So it's a good note that it's closed. It's a good thing, obviously, that that the numbers, they're perceiving the numbers to be higher, but just like any species, if they're not high enough or strong enough to handle a hunting season, then they're not going to open it up yet.
Mm-hmm. And with that, as we mentioned a couple of times here too, next week's the big week, Jake. Everybody should probably be setting some reminders on their cell phones and checking.
Yes, you should.
When their zones open up for that antlerless tag season. So can people still buy physical license or go in for these, or is it straight up all online at this point?
No, it's still both. So the whole system, no matter what you're doing, I don't think I'll probably say this, but be wrong. Besides maybe like ordering something that needs to be shipped to you, like a registration stickers themselves, or like a Go Wild card, which gets shipped to you, you always still have the option to come in person to take care of your stuff if you want to talk with a live, human being.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you can do the same amount of stuff by just going on your phone on the Go Wild app and taking care of it that way. So I've already talked to the customer service staff here in Eau Claire, and they, just like us, they know it because that's their busy week of August, so they already know that week's coming, and they plan for it, for the uptick and people coming in to buy these bonus tags. Obviously, it's just, the difference is if you're in a line of 10 people at the service center and you're 10th in line, you're just going to get whatever you get when you get up to the line,
Mm-hmm.
when you get up for your turn, versus if you do it online, they're going to throw you in like a queue or like a waiting room, basically, when you go to the website, and then you'll automatically get put in a digital or virtual line for getting your bonus tag.
Wow.
So it's just kind of first come, first serve in a way.
Right. So if you want to make sure, maybe the best way is to go online if you still if you're able to
probably,
go online.
or be one of the first people at your local service center in line. Can
anybody camp out outside your office for that service? I'm just kidding. I don't want to throw that out there.
But. Hey, if you want to take that bad, 8:30 a.m. it's when the doors open. Come on in.
Do you have your alarm set? I've got mine set. Mine's the first day right away, so I'm gonna have to get in there and get that. So
yeah, luckily I hunt in an area where there's generally plenty of tags if I need them, so I don't have to get too caught up in that personally, which is kind of nice. But
right.
I've been there for like turkey stuff,
bonus
turkey tags. I got my 3 different alarms going, and
mm-hmm.
somehow some days I still seem to miss those alarms or forget to log in at the right time.
That to me, like next week, that to me is when like hunting season kind of really starts to kick it into gear, when I really start to think about it. I don't know why, but it's just like, okay, now that I've got to get either my bow tag right away or because that's the other thing too. You got to purchase your bow tag or your gun tag with that, but if you don't have it already, with that bonus tag, right? You just can't just order that antlerless tag.
Yeah. Usually the online system will make you purchase everything, some sort of license that gives you, so it makes it legal to have a bonus tag. You can't get a bonus tag without having an archery license or a gun license or something like that. Same with if when everyone does the spring turkey stuff, they're going to make you buy some turkey licenses prior to just buying the bonus tag then.
Right. Jake, before we let you go, a couple things here. Is it still pretty busy on the waters? I mean, I know we're in August and the weather's still, pretty warm and such. Is it still a busy fishing season for you guys, or when do you kind of start to transition more into that hunting season?
No, definitely still busy. I mean, it's still summer. It's still summer until really September comes. I would say with the water coming down, there's a lot more people on the river. Seen plenty of people out on the lakes, and obviously the ATV, UTV trails are always packed, it seems like. But I think you're right. I think next week's a good informal start to the hunting season. I think I mentioned it a couple weeks ago, but for us, at least for me as a warden, is that it's that Labor Day week, and it's that unofficial official transition, because you kind of get that last big push of people out camping and ATVing and boating and this and summer life, and then seems like just immediately the next week you get baiting complaints, and people are calling about their trail cams and deer stands and where they can hunt, and kind of does a big switch, big 180 after that weekend.
Mm-hmm. And I know you mentioned it last week too, but again, Farm Tech Days next week. You guys are going to be out there too.
Farm Tech Days, yeah. If you want to meet some of your local wardens, come on out. I'll be out there a couple days, and at least for the wardens in this area, everyone's going to be out there at some point. So the Chippewa, the Jackson County, the Clark County, Eau Claire County wardens, and then some of our our recreational staff and some of our outdoor skills trainers. We'll have a lot of people there. There's going to be a lot of different machines to climb on if you got kids, or just if you're interested in seeing what we're ripping around these days and stuff like that. As well as that's just the law enforcement. There's going to be tons of other departments there: wildlife, fisheries, drinking groundwater, forestry, just tons of people out there. So plenty of DNR staff if you got questions or thoughts or comments if you go out there.
All right, good stuff. Jake, hey, we appreciate you. And thanks for coming on a little bit earlier this morning too.
Yeah.
Hopefully we didn't keep you too late. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I appreciate you sneaking off so I can take care of some stuff. The last thing, if you don't mind me throwing out one thing, is we talked about obviously hunter safety at the beginning. But what we're seeing a lot this summer too, which I'll throw a quick plug in, is just always make sure if you're basically born after 1989, you need to have everything for your safety courses, basically like having a driver's license. So snowmobiles, ATVs, boats, you have to have your safety certificate. So I think there's a lot of people that have the notion of you turn 16 or you get a driver's license and you can just jump in a UTV and rip down the road or drive the boat around. And we're seeing a lot of people operating without their safety certificates. And without getting into the nitty gritty of why it's important to go to the safety courses, it's just a good reminder that if you're going to operate that or, potentially be a designated driver someday or something like that, you can go online, do it all online, but boat is 1989, ATV is 1988, snowmobile is 1985. If you're born after any of those dates, you have to have those safety courses in order to legally drive the machines.
Good notes, Jake.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Thanks
it, buddy.
again.
Yeah, you got it. Have a good rest of your week, and we'll catch up with you again soon, okay?
Yeah, talk to you guys next week. See ya.
You got it. There you go. Jake Boakes, our conservation warden buddy, joining us here a little bit earlier this morning. Let's take a quick break. We'll get back to more baseball talk coming up here. Brewers, just a couple hours from now. 11:20, first pitch. A little early game today. We'll hit that up. Coming up after these quick words. Late morning, early afternoon baseball. Brewers taking on the Braves. 11:20 first pitch. You can check that out on the radio dials, 105.1 FM and 790 AM. Just a reminder, you can only listen to it on the radio dials. Can't stream it. That's a baseball Brewers thing over there. So if you're in your office thinking, I'm going to stream it up on the computer, you won't be able to hear it. You got to listen. Got to get the old school radio out and listen to it on the radio dials over there. 105.1 FM and 790 AM.
Kind of miss the old days. I remember when we were in grade school, World Series would come out. We had those old little transistor radios, they were just AM at that time. And you'd kind of stick it in your pocket and you run the ear cord up your shirt and out the collar, and then you'd put it in your ear, and then you'd hold your hand over your ear so the teacher couldn't see the cord coming out of your shirt and listen to the World Series. And then you had other teachers that would turn the World Series on in the classroom. So, but now there's so many ways to do it, but still,
think about
radio is tried and true.
World Series on during the day. Think about that.
Oh, it used to be wonderful.
Yeah.
Yep.
They'd have to late night wake up or watch it and wake up really early the next day and such. So I can't say those were the good old days because I wasn't around with those good old days.
But that's when everybody, it doesn't matter. Now they say, well, if it's a small market team, people don't care about it. But back then, I don't care what community you were in or who was playing. Like the 57, 58 World Series, Milwaukee Braves, New York Yankees. Everybody in the country was paying attention to those things. Now, if you don't get teams that people are indoctrinated by the big city media that, we don't care about it because it's Cincinnati or Pittsburgh or somebody we don't care. And so it's a different world. But back then it was, when I was a kid, everybody knew what was going on with the World Series.
Yeah.
Except that prissy little girl with the pigtails.
Jeez. Quick look at how things are standing as we're about almost 70% of the way through the regular season. So we're almost to the fourth quarter, the final quarter of the Major League Baseball season. We've got Baltimore and the Yankees both tied right now for the AL East lead, 68 and 47. Cleveland is leading their division, the AL Central. Houston leading right now the AL West. Your wild card teams are going to be, Baltimore or the Yankees, since they're tied there. Minnesota's got the second wild card spot, and then Kansas City currently holding on to the final wild card spot. Boston's 1.5 back. Seattle's 4.5 back.
How far back are the Twins from Cleveland in the division?
Let me.
I know they were 3 or 4 games. I don't know.
Yeah, it looks. So Cleveland's 67 and 47. Minnesota is 63 and 50 right now.
So yeah, they're about 4 games back.
It's
3.5.
They are 3.5 games back officially from Cleveland right now. In the National League, it's still the same 3 up there. You got Philly, the Dodgers, and Milwaukee sitting there in the leaders for the division lead. Your wild card, those changed up a little bit here. Arizona is your top wild card team right now. They're playing some really good baseball, 8-2 in their last 10. They're on a 4-game winning streak. The Padres also playing really good baseball. They're the second wild card team. They're also 8-2 in their last 10 and have won 4 in a row. And then the Atlanta Braves, who have lost 4 in a row, are holding on very, very, very slightly to that final wild card spot. The Mets are just a half game back. The Cardinals are 2 back. Giants 3.5 back. Pirates 4 back. And still the Cubs are just 5 back, and the Reds 5.5 back. And then it drops down a little bit more after that. So,
a lot of teams to get over for those teams, though.
Absolutely. So, but the Cardinals, they're 5-5 in their last 10. They've been in that wild card race for a while now, but they're currently on the outside looking in at this point in time. But kind of thought Arizona, even though they started off a little slow, they would catch back up, and Padres are doing that here too. Looking at Milwaukee, just kind of some of their other nuggets we talked about, run differential. They have a 31-21 home record. They are 33-28 on the road against teams who are 500 or better. They do have a winning record. They're 29-24. 29-24 against teams with a 500 or better record. They will have first pitch now officially under 3 hours from now, looking to sweep the Atlanta Braves. Mets are hoping that the Brewers can get that job done and knock them down here a little bit more. But we'll get Frankie Montas with his second start as a Brewer, going to be on the mound here today. So we'll see if he can. Yeah, he picked up a win, but maybe it wasn't bad. I mean, it was 5 innings and 3 earned runs, I think his official line was. So get 6 innings in there, a couple earned runs, you'd be satisfied with that with Frankie, I would think. Just the biggest question, can the offense do what they did the last couple of days? So we'll see if they can complete that sweep. And then we've got, that's kind of, this season, when we were talking about a little bit earlier this week, when we started this series against Atlanta, that was kind of the beginning of this interesting or tough stretch, because now you got Cincinnati at home, and then you've got the Dodgers for 4 games at home. Then you've got the Guardians for 3 games at home, and then you go on the road to face the Cardinals for 3 games. I mean, when that's done, when they go face Oakland on August 23rd to begin that season, or to begin that series, excuse me, be very curious to see where the Brewers are at in the standings after this stretch is over with.
I think they're comfortable with the Cardinals. I don't think the Cardinals scare them anymore. And their reputation of St. Louis baseball is one thing, but this particular Cardinal team, I don't think the Brewers are in awe of this team at all. I think they're in awe of any team, but Cardinals come in with that mystique of, it's the Cardinals, they can win. I don't think that's the case this year. I think the Brewers are very confident playing the Cardinals, and they should be confident playing everybody. They've done a nice job. The 5 months, they're well above 500. They're leading the division. I don't think they should be concerned about. Got to be concerned, but not in awe or fear of any of these teams.
No, I think is it fair to say that the Brewers are flying a little bit under the radar in terms of the national?
Yeah.
Like when you
talked about Jackson Chourio right off the bat this morning,
because when you look at their records, I mean, they're 4 games back, 3.5 games back from Philly. They're just 2 games back from the Dodgers in terms of win-loss records here. You look at Baltimore and the Yankees also have 68 wins. I mean, I feel like people are still kind of forgetting that the Brewers are just a couple games back from all those teams from we're having one of the best records in all of Major League Baseball.
All you have to do is watch the highlight shows, the national highlight shows. And they never show the Brewers unless there's a spectacular play in the field or something like that. I mean, it's the Dodgers, it's the Yankees, it's Boston, it's Houston. Brewers don't get any airtime.
Yeah.
They just don't. I mean, it's a fact of life. I'm not crying or complaining. I'm just stating a fact of life that, they don't get equal time by any means, but they hardly get any time at all.
I was reading a little bit from MLB.com during the break. They had a piece up 10 players who need to step up for contenders post deadline. For the Brewers, they picked Joey Ortiz. The Brewers have a 6-game lead in the NL Central, but are just 13-15 since the start of July. Will be without Christian Yelich for the foreseeable future. Despite Yelich's absence, the Brewers didn't acquire a bat at the deadline. While Chourio has broken out after struggling over the first 2 months, the team needs more from its other rookie regular Ortiz, who has produced a .429 OPS in his past 21 games after previously recording an .842 OPS. Well, he had himself a game last night, so hopefully that's kind of a springboard out there. Who else would you add to that list from the Brewers, though?
That needs to step it up?
Yes, to kind of maybe fill that void of a Yelich, missing in that lineup.
Mitchell, I think Mitchell in the outfield, he's coming back. I think he's still feeling his way from that injury that he's been trying to get rid of for a long, long time. And Sal Frelick. I mean, I don't think that's not saying they gotta pound the table. I just think they just got to play where they're at and get a little better from here. Get used to playing under pressure. And I don't think it's a do or die, type of thing that, you either make it or you don't. I just think they got to get better from what they're doing. And they know the same thing. They're young players. They're going to get better the more they play in pressure ball games. And all these games now, the closer you get to the end of the season, the more pressure these games are. You're not the White Sox. You're on top of your division and you want to stay there. So you don't want to panic, but you just want to continue to play good, solid baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think there's any panic or, any must-win games. You just got to continue to win series, and you're not going to win them all, but you got to win more than you lose, and I think they'll be in good shape.
I think if I were to go a little bit of
Freddie Peralta would be one guy that I think needs to stay. I mean, he had a decent game, but he's got to be better.
I think we mentioned his name a little bit earlier ago. I might throw in Aaron Savali on this too, the pitcher that they did acquire a couple months ago. And, I mean, you look at what he did the month of July, his 4 games with Milwaukee, 0-1 with a 4.29 ERA. The one start he had in August 3rd, he just went 4 innings and gave up 5 earned runs against the Nationals. I mean, I'd like to see that guy, kind of, let's face it, improve, be better.
Oh, yeah. I think he knows it too. But
and this is a guy, I mean, you look at it, I know he was kind of a one of those maybe typical Brewer type moves where you're hoping to get the older version or a reclamation project. I mean, you look at what he's done this season when he was with Tampa Bay. April, 1-2 with a 5.88 ERA. May, 0-2 with a 5.70 ERA. June, 0-2 with a 4.32 ERA. So I guess technically he has slightly been better, slightly been better with the Brewers, but that ain't saying a whole lot at that point.
No, he's got to get better because it is, you're really and truly starting the stretch drive now. When you get towards the end of August, these are important series that you've already alluded to coming up now. But, you're getting to crunch time now, and you got to step it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but we'll see. I mean, if that'd be a nice win if they can get that sweep and then ride in some momentum heading into this long home stretch.
Charlie Morton's not the pitcher he used to be.
And Braves are so up and down this year.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And the Braves, I'm just going to say that the Braves were shut out twice in a row until yesterday. So they're off and, they don't have all their players and it's time to get them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. So really quick here before we
play the White Sox anymore this year.
Let me bring it up. My schedule's
I don't think we've got any White Sox on the schedule anymore.
Here's who we play after that St. Louis. I mentioned it's Oakland, the Giants, the Reds, Cardinals, Colorado, the Giants, the Diamondbacks, Phillies, the Diamondbacks, Pittsburgh, and then we wrap up against the Mets in September. So, I mean, you look at that September, Mets might be fighting for a wild card spot. Arizona is going to be fighting for a wild card spot. Philadelphia might be fighting for the 1 seed. So, I mean, it's going to be an interesting couple months left.
Yeah, they've, on the way Arizona came in to Milwaukee last year in the playoffs and just utterly shut them down and made our pitching staff look like middle schoolers. I mean, you just got to step it up. You got to be better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And for the longest time, especially at the beginning of this part of the season, the Brewers, it was one of those things where this team really struggled against going up against left-handed pitching. And it was after the game. Was it after the game yesterday? Yeah, it was after the game yesterday. The Brewers kind of talked about, trying to, quote, make lefties a little nervous, trying to change that narrative. Freddie Peralta says it's changing a little bit. In the past, everyone knew, the Brewers are struggling against lefties, but we've been looking way different now, especially with Chris Sale. He's no average pitcher. He's a legend already, and we were seeing him good. We weren't able to score a lot against him, but we were able to take him out of the game quick, and that's the reason we won 2 nights. Blake Perkins, who had a good game yesterday against him, said, I would hope that lefties are a little nervous now, a little bit cautious with us. Because, I mean, that was one of the big weaknesses, wasn't it? Like, you kind of started to think, okay, if you get to a postseason series, if this team is going to continue to struggle against lefties, you're probably trying to figure out, can we throw at our left-handed pitchers when you get to a quick, short postseason series there?
But still, they got to be good. Mm-hmm. Just because they're left-handed doesn't mean they're going to stop any team. And we're talking about the Brewers here. Are they going to stop the Brewers? You got to be good. I mean, like you said, they did a nice job last night against Chris Sale. They didn't dominate him. They didn't run him out of the game, but they made him throw a lot of pitches.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one way to beat him.
Yep.
And they did. They beat the other pitchers that came in.
Mm-hmm. Pat Murphy, I don't know where he's saying this, but because we were talking about Jackson Cherio and kind of getting overlooked. Said, talking about Jackson Cherio, he said, you're being mentioned as a Rookie of the Year candidate, and then all of a sudden you're injured, and then you're trying to play with it. Then you go on the IL, and you don't know what to think. The whole thing is a mental game. I'm really proud of him breaking through. Actually, he was talking about Ortiz right there, not Jackson Cherio. So, but Ortiz over there. So,
yeah, and I'd like to see Jory Ortiz. I think he's going to be a key, like other people have said. But I think he's got some real possibility. This is an exciting young team.
Mm-hmm.
And the challenge is going to be for the general manager to pick and choose who you're going to keep and who you're going to sign, because unfortunately in this day and age, you can't keep them all.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine Cherio has already got the long contract. I would imagine Bryce Terang is going to be in line for a raise. Joey Ortiz, is he going to be in line for a raise? Sal Frelick, Mitchell. I mean, there are a lot of young guys that deserve, I think, some money.
And I think if you're a general manager, you want to be in that situation, because that means a lot of your decisions were correct, right? A lot of your moves were correct at that point in time. So put the pressure on the owner, right? If you're a general manager, put the pressure on the owner. Say, hey, we got to pay these guys now. I did my job finding these guys. I did my job making the right moves and building the talent. Now it's in the owner's hands to make sure to keep these guys around. So
exactly, and in a market like Milwaukee, you're not going to keep them all. You just hope they keep the right ones.
Would you think it's more pressure to be a general manager in a market like Milwaukee, or more pressure in a management kind of like where big spender team like the Yankees or the Dodgers? Whereas, like, okay, you can shell out checks, but if that doesn't work and you don't win, it's a different pressure, right? Because
because it's not just the won or lost pressure in the fans in those big cities. It's the media.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're all over in Milwaukee. Even if Murphy wasn't having a good year with the Brewers this year, they'd be frustrated, this, that, and the other thing, but they wouldn't be on the warpath. They get in these big cities, and these media people, they get on the warpath against these managers, these coaches, whatever sport it is in. And you go to listen to those press conferences, and they'll ask, those big city media people will ask a question that a media guy in Milwaukee or Chicago won't ask.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't care about the adversarial relationship with a sports manager, coach, whatever. In Milwaukee, Green Bay, they want to keep on their good side because they got to feed that, they got to feed that reporter that information that maybe nobody else will get. Well, the coach or general manager doesn't like this guy because of the way he treats us, quote unquote. You're not going to get that. So that's why the big city media, they're a lot tougher to deal with.
And I feel like if you're a manager, it's almost more pressure to manage a team that has the bigger payroll, because the expectations are so high. Because let's say the Dodgers don't win it this year. I think it's fair to say people are going to ask, is Dave Roberts on the hot seat?
I'm surprised he's still there.
Because what have we been hearing with the Yankees last go? Aaron Boone, right? Hot seat. They shell out all these money. I mean, Ohtani, and, they're deferring money and all that. They've put together an all-star team, for crying out loud. You don't win it all, you're going to be on the hot seat.
Yeah, if George Steinbrenner was still alive, it'd be interesting to see if Aaron Boone would still be the manager of the Yankees.
Right, exactly.
Because he demanded success. He demanded results.
And baseball is a little bit different, where I don't know if you can, once in a while you'd see it. Cubs did it with Joe Madden, but there's not like that manager where they all try to go all, like basketball, maybe not but when it was like Phil Jackson was available.
Yep.
You put together a team, let's go get Phil Jackson or a coach like that. Football, it's like, let's, maybe are we in the Bill Belichick, whatever. You kind of know those coaches, whereas baseball, it's a little bit different, it feels like.
Well, you got you got a lot of players to deal with, and it's all these sports are so different, is how they handle their personnel and what kind of pay structure you've got. And it's tough to be a coach or general manager now. It really is.
I mean, look at what the Lakers tried to do with their coach. They tried to bring in Hurley.
Yeah.
You know, give him a big contract, and he's like, "Yeah, no thanks." Worked out. It was great marketing by him. He ended up getting a little bit of a raise over at UConn.
Yeah, he's pretty comfortable, and he's an East Coast guy.
Yep.
You know, he's from New Jersey and Connecticut, and so going to Los Angeles that's a completely different part of the world, like two different countries. How lifestyle is in Los Angeles versus what it's like in Connecticut.
And I almost feel like at that point, if I'm Hurley, I would have asked for some say on roster. You know, some input on that, because
and I think that indicates to me that he was never real serious about going out there. I think he just uses leverage, which is fine. Go ahead and do it.
You know, yeah. If that gets you a little bit of a raise, why not?
Yep.
You've won 2 national championships back to back.
Yeah, and
you're the best coach in college basketball.
Yeah,
right
they're
now.
talking about he's got another barn
3P.
burner of a team. He can get guys in there, and they stay and they play hard, and he knows how to coach them.
If he gets a 3P, does he instantly vault into like top 10 coaches of all time?
Yep,
I think so.
Oh, I think so too.
I mean, that's especially in this day and age.
I'm just going to add that. That's just what I was going to add. It's so different, and John Wooden. Can you imagine what the pressure would have been, NIL and transfer portal, for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Walton, Sidney Wicks, Curtis Rowe, some of those other guys that he had out there at UCLA that you're never going to go anyplace else. You didn't even come out early to go into the pros. Nowadays, you got a lot of other balls to juggle in the air than just do some recruiting and then get these guys together and put your game plan together. It's a whole lot different coaching style now that you have to have if you're going to be successful.
Really late receiver defer. If Kareem could have left early to go to the NBA, would he still be the all-time leading scorer?
No, that's a good possibility. Depending on, because he could have come out after his freshman year as far as his ability. I mean, that freshman team that they had at UCLA beat the varsity, and the varsity was a defending national champion. So, yeah, I think that's probably a pretty good point to make. The only thing is that 3-point line.
Yeah.
Like Pete Maravich, where would he be now if they had the 3-point line?
Yep.
They're
Pistol Pete, man. Yep.
Comparing apples and oranges.
Yeah, because you factor, let's say, maybe 3 more years in the NBA.
Yeah.
Maybe eventually LeBron would still break it. But,
I think so. I think LeBron would stay around to break that record. But LeBron's a worthy person to do it. He's great, one of the greatest players of all time. But it would have made a difference.
I agree. All right, we got to take a quick break, and then we'll do some picks and predicts coming up after these quick words. All right, let's wrap things up with some picks and predicts brought to you by the Elbow Room, located right next to the Banbury Place in Eau Claire. Maybe if you were looking for somewhere to catch any of the games or such, cool down, stay out of the heats, head on over to the Elbow Room, grab yourself a cold beverage over there. Also, quick reminder, or I guess not maybe a reminder, but a little bit of a note, starting next week, on the 14th, you're going to be able to start making some picks on our Pro Football Pick'em Challenge up at our website at sportstalk1051.com. It'll open up on the 14th of August, so less than a week. Just head to our website and click on the Fan Cave tab, and you'll be able to sign up to start making your weekly picks for our Pro Football Pick'em Challenge.
I'm picking that Brandon Ayuk will not be traded by the 49ers.
At all this year?
Well, I mean, in training camp.
Okay.
But
I say he will.
I think they need him so bad.
Mm-hmm. I think he's going to be out of there.
Pittsburgh?
That's where everybody seems like. He has a little bit of control, though, because apparently New England was willing to offer him, was it $28 million or something like that?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, no thanks.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't going to resign. So
like going to a high school quarterback.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, it's kind of like that going to Pittsburgh, too. Sorry, Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. So I'd still rather take my chances with those two. Drake May could be really good. We just don't know yet.
So. No, I know it. But
it's football season when I've got the big old Packer schedule hanging up now, getting ready to go. No preseason games on this schedule, though. Come on, man.
I was going to say.
What the heck?
And the players are going to play.
Yeah. Come on. We're going to pick some. Oh, wait. My bad. It is up on the top. We just don't have columns for wins or losses. Sorry, I blew up, but there's no columns for wins or losses on there. So it is up there. A little bit of a note. Like they know people don't care about preseason games besides me and Bob. So
that's right. You and I are the only two.
Yep, exactly. All right. You already called it, but you're going with the sweep today by the Brewers.
I think they'll handle Charlie Morton.
All right. You know what? My heart says sweep. My head says a loss. Screw the head. We'll go with the hearts. We're going to go with the heart on this one. I'm going to pick a sweep. So heart, the heart wants what the heart wants, right?
I think they're going to go on a pretty nice run here for about the next 10 days.
I hope so. Let's go with Baltimore at Toronto.
Baltimore.
I'm going Baltimore there too. Although Dalton Varsho again, get this guy a Gold Glove too. The other day, another fantastic catch in the outfield, for crying out loud, man.
He is a true Major League Baseball player. Good for him, and I hope he signs a huge contract.
I mean, it still is so cool to see. If you'd said that guy used to be a catcher, you'd be like, no, he wasn't. I mean, the amount of ground he covers and the catches he makes at the wall, man, it's fun to watch.
Yeah, I still enjoyed talking to his high school coach over at Marshfield High School, Mark Z, and he used to tell me stories about that kid. He said he was so different from any other high school player he's ever coached. He just had it.
Yep.
And everything he did, every part of the game.
Remember, Dale was reminding everybody, like, he played him at third when he was with the Express all over the field over there, too, wherever he needed him. So.
Oh, yeah. He's one of those kids that he's never going to hurt you when he's on the field for you.
Got a feeling, might be a while, because hopefully he has a long career, but one of those banners outside Carson Park with the alums for the Express, we might have a Dalton one up there.
I wouldn't doubt it a bit. So. I wouldn't doubt it. I hope he can get to a team, get a nice contract, and establish some kind of reputation for some team, whether it be Toronto or,
actually, there is one already out there. I think I misspoke, but you know what I mean.
But anyway, we've had some great alumni.
Yep. So, okay, let's do some other picks here. Philadelphia at Arizona.
Arizona's hot. These guys are coming back. The rookie of the year, what's his name?
Corbin Carroll.
Corbin Carroll. He beat the Brewers pretty much in the playoffs last year, and he's coming around to his rookie form when he was so good. I'm taking Arizona.
I'm going to go Arizona, too. They're playing really good baseball right now. Philadelphia is a little bit down, so I'll go.
Although Schwarber had 3 home runs.
Yeah. That guy. Yeah. Leadoff hitter, that 200 average, but he'll get you 40-some home runs every year.
Yep. So. The Cubs Wouldn't pay him. Playing in Wrigley Field. My goodness, he was a home run machine.
So I think that's about, because we got do you want to pick Detroit at Seattle? I don't.
No.
White Sox
I
don't
have
play.
no idea how either one of those teams are doing this year.
White Sox don't play though, so you got that going for us, which is nice.
I thought that Philadelphia losing streak back in the 60s was 33, but it was only 23. I thought it was 33 games.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because I know they broke it against Milwaukee in the second game of a doubleheader.
Yeah. All right, that's all I got for. Actually, I got two more. Kenny win gold? Does Kenny win gold?
You bet. Go for it, man. Is it going to be on TV? Or it will be sometime, but when?
I would have to look that up.
Yeah, I don't know when it's on, if we get it live or tape delayed or what the deal is. But yeah, go for it, Kenny.
Get the goal, man. That'd be so cool. So.
Kenny, receiver defer, Kenny Bednarik or Bernardnik, how you
Bednarik.
Or it's his name, most famous athlete ever come out of Rice Lake.
Will be after today.
Yep.
Should be, but will be after today.
Yep.
And then one more. They're tied right now. Just 3 more games left in the regular season for the Eau Claire Express. Tied for first place with Duluth. One more game against Thunder Bay on the road today. Madison tomorrow on the road. Madison to wrap it up at Carson Park Saturday. Will the Express get first place?
I think so. At this point in time, it's a matter of keeping your players. Because some of them are leaving, going home, or doing this, that, or the other thing. But you don't know how much devotion they have, because they're just here for the summer. Kids playing baseball, it's a pretty good way to do it. But yeah, I'm going for it.
I think so too. I think this playoff type of atmosphere these last couple of weeks has really energized this team. They want to go for it. They want to make this run. We were talking about Varsho playing every spot. This Dylan O'Connell kid for the Express. I mean, it was a couple weeks ago. There was some thought, would he continue to play because he got hurt? And he's played, I think, first, center field, DH, third. He's been all over here too. So
kind of guys you need.
Yep. All right, DP and the Danettes, they're up next.
I won't be here next week. I'll be at
Farm Tech Days. All right. Typical Bob schedule.
busy. Heading to Ladysmith right now, as a matter of fact.
Tell him I said hi.
Will do.